I don't even know where to start with this, but I guess the garage is as good a place as any, because that's exactly where they stuck me. The garage. Not even a proper chair. One of those cheap plastic ones that wobbles if you so much as lean to the side. It was my parents' 40th wedding anniversary. Big event. They rented out a hall, had it catered, got a live band. The works. Every relative I could remember was there. Cousins, aunts, uncles, even family friends from way back who I didn't think they kept in touch with anymore. Everyone had a place inside. Every single person, except me. I showed up right on time. I had a wrapped gift in hand. A photo album I spent weeks putting together with pictures of them from their dating days all the way to their retirement. I was actually pretty proud of it. Thought maybe, just maybe, it might remind them that I still mattered. That maybe I wasn't the invisible child they'd been treating me like for the last decade. I hadn't even fully stepped inside the building when my mother stopped me by the arm. "Oh, you're here. Great. Listen, we've run out of seating inside. We've set up a spot for you in the garage." The garage? I actually thought she was joking at first. But nope. She motioned toward the back where they'd propped open a door leading to a dimly lit garage. One table, one chair, one lonely little place setting. For me. I looked back at her, waiting for some kind of explanation, and that's when she hit me with the line I'll probably hear in my head until the day I die. "It's just for extended family." Just for extended family? I looked around again. There was my brother, front and center at the main table. My sister and her kids had a whole section of their own. Even freaking Cody, the cousin who stole jewelry from my mom 3 years ago and blamed it on me, was sitting there like royalty, clinking glasses with my dad. Extended family, my ass. I gripped the wrapped album in my hand until I thought the paper would tear. I could feel the heat rise in my face. I swear I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. But instead of making a scene, I bit my tongue. For now, I figured I'd at least give it a shot. Maybe this was all just a mistake. Maybe someone had forgotten to add a chair inside. So I took my seat in that miserable garage. I sat there for about 20 minutes, staring at nothing but stacked boxes, half-empty beer coolers, and a cobweb dartboard on the wall. No one came to check on me. No one offered to move me inside. The music was muffled through the walls, laughter spilling into the hallway every time someone walked by the door to grab another drink from the garage fridge. Not once did they look at me. That's when I saw my dad come into the garage finally. I thought maybe he'd noticed how wrong this was. Maybe he was going to tell me to come sit with him. But no. He just grabbed a six-pack from the fridge, looked at me like I was some stranger at a bus stop, and walked right back out. I sat there another 5 minutes, feeling like less than nothing. Then I stood up, grabbed the album, and started walking toward the door. I passed by the edge of the dance floor where my mother and sister were laughing like they didn't have a care in the world. And without missing a beat, I said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Extend this." And I turned around, headed for the exit. That's when I heard it, my father's voice, loud and sharp. "You ungrateful little shit. Get back here." I didn't stop. I didn't even look back. But I heard chairs scraping back, footsteps, and then the unmistakable sound of my father's heavy steps gaining on me. I gripped the gift tighter, knowing damn well I had just detonated the first bomb in what was about to be a full-on family war. The thing about my dad is, he was never the kind of guy who raised his voice unless he intended to make an example out of you. And I knew from the second I heard his shoes pounding against that cheap, rented linoleum, he wasn't about to let me just walk out quietly. I hit the front double doors, pushing them open so hard they smacked against the metal stoppers with a loud clang. The summer heat hit me like a wall, but I barely noticed. My heart was hammering in my chest as I walked toward my car. "You stop right there." His voice cracked like a whip across the parking lot. I kept walking. I was shaking, but I didn't stop. Not until I heard his next words. Words that felt like a bullet to the back of the head. "Your mother didn't even want to invite you." I froze mid-step. I turned around slowly, gripping that album like it was the only thing holding me together. He stood there on the ramp, halfway between the door and the lot, breathing heavy like he'd just run a damn marathon. "She did it to shut up your sister. We didn't even have a place for you. What were we supposed to do, take a seat away from someone who actually matters?" He actually said that, out loud, with other people standing right behind him, peeking out the door. It felt like someone had punched all the air out of my lungs. Like I just found out for the first time that every suspicion I ever had growing up was true. I wasn't just the overlooked one. I wasn't just the afterthought. I was nothing to them. I couldn't even think straight. but my mouth moved on its own. You know what? Don't worry. You won't have to invite me again. He started walking toward me fast, fist clenched, face beet red. Don't you dare talk to me like that. You ungrateful piece of... Ungrateful. I snapped. Ungrateful for what? For being tossed in the garage like garbage? For watching you treat everyone else like gold while I get the leftovers every damn time. I swear you could hear a pin drop. The crowd at the door was silent. Even the band inside must have stopped because I could hear people whispering. Dad looked around nervously for the first time. That's when I knew I had him. I could see the flicker of embarrassment in his eyes. The man loved attention, but not this kind. Not when he wasn't in control. Go home, he hissed through gritted teeth, stepping closer. Right now. I took another step back, keeping my distance. You bet I am. And you won't see me again. Neither of you. Not ever again. I turned back toward my car and unlocked it. But just as I reached for the door, I heard my sister's voice cutting through the tension. Wait. I stopped, hand on the handle. She jogged toward me, heels clicking on the pavement. She actually looked panicked. Wait, please. Just wait a second, she begged, glancing over her shoulder like she was afraid of who might hear. Look. I didn't know they were going to do that. I swear I didn't. I told them to make room for you inside. I stood there, stunned. I hadn't expected her of all people to follow me out here. They told me you RSVP'd too late, she continued, fidgeting with her bracelet. I didn't know they stuck you out here. I swear, I thought you just didn't come. My gut twisted. Was she lying? Or had she really been in the dark? They said you didn't even respond, she whispered, looking back toward the door again. I didn't find out until I saw you walking toward the garage. Then why didn't you say anything when you saw me? I shot back. Her face crumpled like she'd been slapped. Because they told me not to make a scene. Said you wanted to sit out there. That you asked for space. I actually laughed. It was bitter and cold, but I laughed. She swallowed hard. Please, just come back inside. You don't have to sit in there. You can sit at our table. I'll make them move someone. No. I cut her off so sharply she flinched. I'm done. Her face fell. She looked down at the ground, nodding slowly. I get it, she whispered. Then she turned and walked back toward the ramp, head down like she'd just lost a fight she hadn't even wanted to enter. I got in my car, slammed the door, and gripped the steering wheel with white knuckles. I should have driven away right then. But something held me there. I glanced over at the passenger seat where the photo album still sat, wrapped and untouched. Screw it. I grabbed my phone, snapped a picture of it on the seat with my car keys next to it, and posted it to the family group chat with a simple caption. Since you didn't have a place for me, here's your gift. Consider it the last one. I put the car in drive, cranked the wheel, and pulled out of the lot without looking back. But I should have known it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Because by the time I got home, my phone had blown up with over 20 missed calls from my mom. And when I listened to the first voicemail, I knew the war had just begun. When I got home, I didn't even get out of my car right away. I sat there in the dark driveway, phone in hand, staring at the notifications piling up on the screen. 23 missed calls, 12 voicemails, 7 texts, all from her. I didn't even want to hear her voice, but I couldn't stop myself from tapping on the first voicemail. My hands were trembling again, but not from fear this time. I was shaking with anger. The recording started out calm. Too calm. Honey, call me back, please. We need to talk. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Please don't blow this out of proportion. It's just a party. Just a party? That already had me grinding my teeth. But it got worse. The next voicemail started with a sniffle and her fakest sob. You don't understand how hard this is for us. Your father's beside himself. You embarrassed us. All those people saw you acting like a child. Like you haven't been loved all your life. You're our son. Why would you do this to us? To them? I had to pause the playback just to stop myself from screaming into the empty car. I skipped to the third voicemail, then the fourth, and the fifth. They kept getting more manipulative. She'd start off pretending to be sad, then angry, then back to guilt-tripping me like she hadn't just humiliated me in front of our entire extended family. But it was voicemail number 8 that made my blood go cold. You better come back here tomorrow and apologize to your father in front of everyone, or we're done. Do you hear me? Done. Don't bother showing your face at Christmas. Don't call. Don't visit. Don't think you'll be in the will. You've embarrassed us for the last time. There it was. The final card. The threat. I leaned my head back against the seat and let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding for hours. Cut me out? Cut me out? Like I hadn't already been cut out since I was 18. For the first time in years, I felt free. I deleted every single voicemail, blocked her number, blocked my dad's, blocked the entire family group chat. One by one, I cut every digital string they had to pull, except one, my sister. I stared at her contact for a long moment. I don't know what made me do it, curiosity maybe, but I texted her just 3 words. Did you know? The dots appeared almost immediately. She must have been sitting by her phone, waiting. No, I swear on my life. They lied to me too. I didn't answer right away. I didn't know if I believed her. But then another message popped up. Can I come by tomorrow? Please. I wanted to say no. I should have said no. But the part of me that still wanted someone in that family to care, caved. Fine. Noon. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept replaying the party over and over in my head. The way they all looked at me like I didn't belong. The way my dad spoke to me like I wasn't even his kid. The way my mom turned it all around on me, like I was the problem. By the time morning rolled around, I'd worked myself into a spiral of second-guessing. Maybe I'd overreacted. Maybe I'd misunderstood. Maybe it was all just a mistake. I hate how easy it is to gaslight yourself when you grow up like that. At exactly 11:58 a.m., I heard a knock on my door. I cracked it open, half expecting to see the whole damn circus standing there. But it was just her, my sister, alone. No husband, no kids, no audience. She stood there holding a paper bag and a tray of coffees like she was about to give me the world's most awkward peace offering. Can I come in? She asked softly. I stepped aside without a word and let her enter. She set the bag and coffees on my kitchen counter, then turned to face me with her arms crossed tight across her chest, like she was bracing herself for impact. I didn't know, she said again. I swear I didn't. I leaned against the doorframe, saying nothing. She let out a shaky breath. I begged them to make room for you. I told them it wasn't right. I even called you the week before to ask if you were coming. I narrowed my eyes. No, you didn't. She pulled out her phone and scrolled through her messages. Then she held it up. A text from her. Sent a week before the party. Hey, are you coming to the anniversary thing? Haven't heard from you. I grabbed my phone, opened my texts, and nothing. No message. No missed call. Nothing from her at all. She looked at me like she knew exactly what I was thinking. Check your blocked list. I frowned and opened my blocked numbers. There she was. Blocked. My jaw dropped. I didn't block you, I whispered. I figured, she replied softly. I showed Dad your number that day. He asked me if I'd heard from you. I let him see the screen when I sent the text. Guess he must have blocked me from your phone while I wasn't looking. I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. My own father had blocked my sister from my phone. He didn't just lie to me. He made sure I couldn't hear the truth. I sank down onto the nearest chair, holding my head in my hands. They did this on purpose, I muttered. They wanted me to blow up. She nodded, tears welling in her eyes. They're trying to make you the villain so they can justify cutting you out. I sat there, staring at nothing. It all made sense now. All the missed calls. The silent treatment. The years of being treated like a ghost. They wanted me gone. And last night, I gave them the perfect excuse. But what they didn't count on was me finding this out. I looked up at my sister and something in me snapped back into place. I wasn't walking away this time, not quietly. Not without burning the whole fake little empire they built right to the ground. Because if they wanted a villain, I'd give them one. I knew exactly what to do next. I told my sister to stay quiet about visiting me. I didn't trust anyone else in the family not to tip them off. She nodded, understanding immediately. We made a plan right there in my kitchen. They humiliated me publicly, so I'd return the favor. I didn't have much dirt on them yet. But my sister? She had more than enough. Bank account skeletons, affairs covered up years ago, and plenty of petty family politics they didn't want aired. I started by drafting a long post on Facebook. No insults. No drama. Just facts. My parents invited everyone to their anniversary party. I was the only one they sat in the garage. When I tried to leave, my father chased me into the parking lot and told me I didn't deserve a place among my own family. For those who wondered why I've gone silent, now you know. I attached the voicemail recording. The one where my mother told me not to show my face again or expect anything from them. I posted it. Public. Unfiltered. Within an hour, my phone started blowing up again, but this time with people on my side. cousins, old family friends, even some of my dad's old work buddies. They'd seen it all, and they weren't impressed. Some even shared their own stories, how my parents had cut them off for petty reasons, how my dad had borrowed money and ghosted people when they asked for it back. My sister kept feeding me more info. I kept posting it. Screenshot after screenshot. They couldn't keep up. They tried deleting comments, blocking people, but it was too late. By the end of the day, the family reputation they'd spent decades crafting was gone, torn apart by their own actions. But I wasn't done yet, because what they didn't know was that I'd already filed paperwork. See, my parents had always dangled the will over my head like a carrot. The house, the savings, the land they always bragged about leaving to us kids. Thing is, I already knew the truth. My sister had told me years ago. Everything was already promised to my brother. Everything. They just never told me to keep me dangling. So I made my own move. I booked a consultation with a lawyer the very next morning. Not for money. Not for inheritance. No, I didn't want a dime from them. I wanted something better, a restraining order. My sister had saved the footage from the venue security cameras. I didn't even know she had it. It showed my dad cornering me in the parking lot, yelling, lunging toward me. Clear as day. We added that to the pile. The lawyer nodded, saying it was enough to file for harassment and an order of protection. I signed everything right there. But I wasn't done. I also had him draft a cease and desist, one that barred them from using my name, my photos, or any mention of me in their little family events or posts. They wanted me cut off? Perfect. I'd do it legally. I left that office feeling something I hadn't felt in years: power. For once, they didn't control the narrative. I drove home, called my sister, and told her to expect fallout. And fallout came fast. The next day, my parents showed up at my job. My actual job. In front of my coworkers. My dad demanded I come outside. My mom started fake crying again. They had no idea I was already recording. I stood in the break room staring through the glass at both of them outside. My dad pacing, my mom putting on another Oscar-worthy sob story for the people passing by. My boss came up behind me. "You want me to call security?" he asked. I almost laughed. "Not yet," I replied. I stepped outside calmly, phone recording from my pocket. I didn't say a word. I just stood there and waited for them to speak. And they did not disappoint. My dad was the first to unload. "Think you're a big man now? Trying to drag us through the mud in front of everyone? Who do you think you are?" My mom started in next. "We gave you everything. And this is how you repay us? Public shame? After all we've done for you." They went on and on, saying how I was ruining their legacy, how I was destroying the family reputation. I didn't flinch. I didn't interrupt. I let them dig their own grave, right there on company property. When they finally ran out of steam, I pulled out the cease and desist letter and handed it to my dad. "This is legal now," I said quietly. "Contact me again, show up at my house or job again, and I'll press charges." My mom's face turned white. Dad grabbed the paper, ripped it in half, and spit at my feet. That's when I waved my boss over. "Call security," I said loud enough for them to hear. My parents actually panicked. My mom started begging me to talk it out privately. My dad started backing toward the car, already realizing they'd gone too far. Security came out before they could leave and escorted them off the property. I watched them drive away, shaking their fists in the rearview mirror like it was some kind of movie. But I knew something they didn't. I had it all on video again, this time with witnesses. And I wasn't done. By that evening, I had uploaded the new footage online, this time tagged with the cease and desist letter I served them. No captions, no commentary. Just the facts. I let people see exactly how they behaved when no one could protect their image. And this time, the silence afterward was deafening. No one from the family called. No one defended them. It was like the entire bloodline hit a wall and decided, for once, they couldn't clean up the mess they made. Even mutual friends who used to sit on the fence started sending me quiet messages of support. Some apologized for not believing me before. Some told me stories about the way my parents had treated them over the years. They were finally exposed, and there was no fixing it now. A few days later, my sister texted me again. "They're planning something. Mom's been telling people you've stolen from them. You might want to get ahead of it." That didn't even surprise me. Smearing me was their last move. So I did exactly what my sister suggested. I got ahead of it. I went straight to the police, showed them everything I'd documented so far, and filed a formal statement preemptively denying any accusations they might throw at me. I also gave copies of the footage to a lawyer and a close friend for safekeeping. Let them lie. I'd already sealed every crack they could slip through. That night, I sat on my porch with a drink in hand, staring up at the stars. I felt finished, not happy, not sad, just done. But deep down, I knew they wouldn't stay quiet forever. Not them. And I was right. Because exactly 1 week later, I got served. The envelope was thick, way thicker than it needed to be. Certified mail, official seal. I already knew what it was before I even opened it. Inside, a cease and desist from them, claiming I was defaming them, claiming I was harassing them. I actually laughed out loud. Not because it was funny, but because it was so predictable. Typical of them to play the victim after all they'd done. I immediately called my lawyer. He asked me to email him the entire document. I did, and not even 20 minutes later, he called me back, laughing. "It's junk," he said. "Poorly written. No legal backing. They probably paid someone shady to whip this up to scare you." He told me to ignore it but keep it for records. So I did. But that wasn't all. Apparently, they had also started telling people I stole money from my dad's retirement account, that I'd threatened my mother with violence, that I was mentally unstable. And worst of all, they were now blaming my sister for feeding me lies. They were turning on her, too. She called me crying that night, telling me my mom had shown up at her door, screaming loud enough for the neighbors to hear, accusing her of destroying the family, of poisoning me against them. We both knew they weren't done. So I told her to pack a bag. Come stay with me for a while. Because if they wanted to make this ugly, fine. We'd face them together. She showed up at my door the next morning with nothing but a backpack and red, swollen eyes. "I can't believe they're doing this to me now," she whispered, stepping inside. "I tried so hard to stay neutral all these years, and now I'm dead to them too." I let her vent. She needed it. She kept blaming herself for not speaking up sooner, for not pushing harder, for not protecting me when we were younger. But the truth was, none of this was on her. This was all them. I promised her she wasn't alone. And I meant it. That day, we started gathering everything. Financial records, old emails, social media screenshots, voice recordings, even texts from other family members backing up what we'd both endured for years. We printed it all, organized it into folders, and labeled them for court. Not because I wanted to sue them, not because I wanted revenge, but because I knew they were gearing up to come after me publicly, and I wasn't about to let them ruin my life again. That weekend, I called a local journalist, one who loved a good small-town scandal. I told them everything. I showed the evidence. I held nothing back. I made sure they knew every dirty family secret my parents didn't want aired. I didn't ask for money. I didn't ask for attention. I just wanted the truth out there. And the journalist? They couldn't believe what they were hearing. "This'll go viral," they said. I nodded. Good. The article dropped on a Monday morning. It didn't just expose what they did to me. It laid everything bare: family manipulation, financial fraud rumors, the public ambush at my work, the voicemail threats, even their fake cease and desist stunt. By noon, everyone in town had seen it. People I hadn't spoken to in years were messaging me things like, "I always knew something was off about them. Took guts to speak up. Proud of you." They finally got what they deserved. My parents, on the other hand, radio silence. They disappeared off social media, deleted their accounts, canceled appearances at every community event they used to proudly show their faces at. Even the relatives who usually enabled them had gone quiet. Their reign was over. My sister stayed with me for another 2 weeks while the dust settled. We talked more during those nights than we had in the last 10 years combined. It was weird at first, but it felt good, real, like we were finally on the same side after years of pretending everything was fine. One evening, she looked over at me and said something I'll never forget. "You ended it. You broke the cycle." I didn't say anything back. I just nodded because deep down, I knew she was right. It's been months since the fallout. My parents haven't tried to contact me again, not that they could if they wanted to. The restraining order still stands. The evidence is still backed up in multiple places. And my life? It's peaceful for the first time in forever. No more waiting for the other shoe to drop. No more wondering if I'm good enough. I've got my own place, my own life, and finally, my own freedom. And if you're wondering what happened to the anniversary photo album, it's sitting on my shelf, still wrapped, still unopened, just like their hearts always were. And I plan on keeping it that way.